Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Let's discuss this movie, Yelling Fire in an Open Theater. Now, make sure you get that title right because the expression that most of us know is yelling fire in a crowded theater. Yelling fire in a crowded theater. But that's not the title of this movie. The ironic twist of the title is Yelling Fire in an Open Theater. Okay? And first off, it's a low budget movie. So don't be afraid. There's actually a story here. There's actually cinematic elements. Pretty good, very good acting at times. Pretty good acting at other times. The lighting wasn't the best, but like I said, it was low budget. I want to say that this movie was the aspect ratio 4:3, or am I imagining that? It might have been. That's the old TV. Aspect ratio. It could have been like that, unless I'm imagining that. But what's the story about? Well, this young woman, this is a movie by Justin Zuckerman. I'm not very good with names, and I don't have two computers here to cross-reference, so I'm going by memory. Justin Zuckerman's the director, I believe, the writer-director. This young woman, she's 21 years old. She's one of these people that graduates from college, in 4 years apparently, because she's 21. She's a recent college graduate. Her name is Lisa, and she has decided to move to New York City because she has a boyfriend who is in New York City, and she has an opportunity because her mother's friend's daughter has already lived in New York City for a while and has an apartment, and apparently there's a guest room or another room that she can move into, and we'll meet those characters next. So she gets on this plane. There's this kind of nice scene, a forbidding little scene. First off, should you see this movie or not? Yeah, go see it. It's not a movie that you would have to see in a theater. It's not a big, Fast X or something with a lot of noise or special effects. You could watch this in the comfort of your own home, I would say, and it'd be the same effect. But yeah, see the movie. It's good fun. So basically, Lisa meets her new roommate, Holly, and upon first thought in my mind is that Holly looks like a slightly bigger and a little bit older version of Lisa. Lisa's 21. She's very tiny, I would say. Looks like she's right around the 5'1" or 5'2" mark. And Holly, who's probably in her late 20s in real life, in the character's life, maybe early 30s, she seems to be like a more, 33% bigger and older version of Lisa. Now, initially I thought, well, this is going to make this movie a little bit difficult because these two actresses, their faces are pretty similar. They're both brunettes, and they both, kind of have a nice poshy type of face. Am I going to get confused? Well, not really. Then, in a matter of moments, basically, Holly is showing Lisa around the apartment, shows her there's a dog, but you can't pet the dog because the dog has some type of condition that you can't pet the fucking dog, which is funny. And then, guess who comes next? Bill. Bill apparently is the boyfriend, the lover boy of the hostess here. So Bill is Holly's boyfriend, but Bill is, she introduces the two. Hi, Bill. This is Lisa. Oh, yeah. Who's Lisa? Oh, she's our new roommate. What? I promised that room to Doug, my friend Doug. He'll be here next week. And so begins our tension, So we immediately find out that this couple, and Doug is not Doug, but Bill is an interesting guy. He's a musician. Of course, he's not successful. Most musicians are not. It's a tough business. He has kind of an interesting look. He's got like a chipped tooth, which I'm sure is the actor's real chipped tooth, but it kind of adds some character to his character, like a little bit edgy and a little bit shifty at times, but, a heart of gold underneath. And, so there's this immediate conflict. This room is not supposed to be for this 5 foot tall version of you. It's supposed to be for my friend Doug. Oh, So we get into all that. And basically, young Lisa discovers that she can hear the two either bickering or making love in their room. She doesn't have much in their room through the walls because it's New York City. She doesn't have much privacy. So she's kind of looking for solace in her man, you know, this guy that she fucking moved here to be with. And her other, you know, kind of interesting quirk, because it is a quirky film, is she likes to draw pictures. She likes to draw drawings, cartoons, and they're pretty fun. And whenever she's drawing a cartoon, she's thinking about what's going on in her life, and this kind of helps the movie move along, which I thought was a nice technique. Also, I forgot to finish that thought. There's an opening sequence of young Lisa in the airplane area, you know, waiting for her baggage or whatever. And this, you know, woman that was on the same flight strikes up a conversation about her artwork, and she gives her a warning about New York City. Like, hey, it's not going to be what you think it is, and here's $50. Get yourself a coffee or whatever the fuck. So even that little scene, there's some filmic, you know, this is kind of like the hero's journey, okay? Odysseus, he's off to conquer, but in this scenario, it's a she. She's off to conquer, find new fortune, find new land. But her boyfriend, you know, is actually pretty good, funny, in a supporting role. The guy that plays her boyfriend is actually pretty enjoyable as kind of a jerk boyfriend, because he's just trying to passively aggressively break up with her, get one last lick in, so to speak, one last lovemaking session before he casts her aside. And the way that he does it is pretty funny. And he's basically saying, I've got my own life here. And she's like, you're a barista, you know, so... you know, she's like, well, I wish you would have told me before I moved to fucking New York City. I would have stayed in Florida. And that's where she's from. And the boyfriend guy is like, you know. I thought that was a funny scene. I thought that was very human. I mean, people are so goddamn selfish that they'll have you move somewhere, and then once you get there, they blow you off, and then you're stuck there. And I think, you know, some of us can relate to that, some of us cannot. But you have to be careful. If someone really loves you, let that asshole move to New York, or let that asshole move to Florida, you know. But she was looking for an escape. She was bored in Florida, so she goes to New York for this fucking guy, and then he blows her off after he gets one last session in. Then there's this other storyline of the older girl, the original person. I'm getting the names mixed up. Holly, the person that has the apartment. She starts teasing her own boyfriend, Bill, saying that Bill has a crush on little Lisa. And, hey, he's a guy and this new girl who's been served to him on a silver platter in his own home. She's basically the younger version of his current girlfriend. So why wouldn't he be attracted to her, you know? So you have all these skeevy elements going on. Another recurring theme that kind of happens, about halfway through the movie is that every time the young Lisa, and by the end of the movie, her character or the actress or a combination of both, you find yourself quite enchanted by her. She's not one of these, young women that walks around and every neck is going to twist, but she's quite lovely in her own way, and you kind of fall in love with this character. So you can't really blame all these other supporting characters, because a common theme here is that everybody tries to kiss this girl. Every time she meets a friend, every time she has a coworker, everybody wants to kiss her. Even spoiler, even older, pseudo sister Holly kisses her in the mouth. So everybody's trying to kiss this poor girl, and it makes you think about stuff. Look. I've never been a 21-year-old woman, but I mean, I can relate that a young, attractive person who seems a bit vulnerable and is kind of wide-eyed is going to be attractive to all these, slightly older adults who see her as a target, or they see her as a potential young flower to reap their fucking whatever the fucks. So it's understandable, because she does have this look about her like she's looking to be taken care of. So all these people in her life, they foster that feeling through trying to kiss her. They all want to kiss her in the mouth. So I thought it was funny because eventually she erupts. When one too many person has kissed her on the mouth, she gets upset. So I think it was a good movie. I mean, there was good character development. There was also, spoiler, at the end of the movie, what the fuck happens? Basically, oh yeah, how could I forget? At the end of the movie, fucking, Lisa and Holly, everyone's fighting. There's a big party and everybody fights. The ex-boyfriend comes over. The guy, Doug, is over there. He gives her a kiss. Everyone's kissing her. Everyone's trying to kiss her. She wakes up in the middle of the night. She goes to the kitchen for a snack. I'm sorry, let me start over. She wakes up in the middle of the night because she hears something. Kaboom. Something's been, some audio thing happens. She goes into the kitchen to discover that the window is open and the wind is fucking blowing in. But why is the window open in the kitchen apartment? Well, then a scary mugger comes out with a fucking knife, or the fucking mugger attacks her, and he's choking her neck, and then the fucking mugger kisses her. So even I saw the shot as the shot, like the scene that the mugger tried to kiss her too, or the mugger actually did kiss her. Other people watching this movie with me did not see that kiss by the mugger, but I thought that the mugger attempted to kiss her just like every other fucking other character in the movie. And fucking good old Lisa was drawing her animations, and she took one of her drawing markers and she fucking stabbed the guy in the jugular, and the fucking guy drops to the ground in a bloody heap. Now, this is where you see some of the fact that we got so far in this movie. The movie does boast about its low budget, which I don't think is ever really a selling point. I don't think most people in the world who watch a movie are excited by the low budget. Like most audience members, just for Mr. Zuckerman and associates to know, most audience members aren't impressed if your movie didn't take much money to make. They want to see a good movie, regardless of how much money it made. Now, the only people that give two flying fucks about if your movie was made for a low budget are other filmmakers, okay? Just a little point of reference. But, yes, this is where you can see some of the low budget stuff coming into play, because it wasn't a great kill. Yes, I know. It just didn't feel. It felt like a staged movie kill. It wasn't particularly good. I mean, the character, the guy, the mugger guy, kind of falls in a way that didn't seem right. Like he just immediately dies. He doesn't really gasp for air. I mean, I think the thing with most movie kills, they're so sudden and quick, and the character just dies into silence. But a human death, if you ever seen one or experienced one, it's a lot more dramatic. That's portrayed in most movies. Speaking of which, this is just another thing about most movies that's ridiculous. Like that movie 65 with the dinosaurs. The character comes from this other fucking universe, this parallel universe. But in this parallel universe, they just happen to have cotton shirts and khaki shorts and sandals, and they speak English. But it's a parallel fucking universe, right? So in a parallel universe that's in the 65 movie, parallel fucking universe that's nothing to do with us or this other dimension, they speak perfect fucking American English, and they wear cotton shirts and khaki pants and sandals, just like us. Okay. So anyway, going back to this one. Okay, so she kills the fucking guy. Then the next thing is you hear a siren from the outside, and it's a police siren. And then we cut into her fucking looking up at the sky, and it's a fire alarm going off. And this is maybe where the fire alarm in the open theater comes in. I'll explain that in a minute. See if my filmic interpretation is right on, Zuckerman. So she's hearing the fucking thing, the fire alarm. She wakes up, and she's in this dank apartment or this dank house. And then she goes into the living room. Her mother's there. I couldn't hear this fucking audio. Another low budget consideration. Sometimes the audio is not very good. The woman playing the mother, I could not really understand what she was saying, but somebody filled me in that the mother and the daughter, now it's Lisa with her mom suddenly. And Lisa's saying, hey, do you want to go to the beach today, Mom? And Mom says, nah, we should just stay here. And then we cut to a scene with Mom, Lisa, and apparently Dad, and they're sitting around a circular kitchen table eating pizza. That's pretty unmotivated. And then we cut to I guess, the next day. And Lisa is basically at the beach by herself. And she goes into the ocean and she kind of dips underneath the water. And there was a story, I don't know if it was called The Awakening, but a short story that I read in college where this woman basically had everything. She had a rich life, a rich husband, wonderful, children. And she was so goddamn bored, she just walked into the fucking ocean and drowned herself because life was too boring, because people need constant attention and excitement and change and new dicks to fuck and new women to fuck and everything. So Lisa, I don't think she kills herself. I just think she it's like a baptism by fire. Now, this is where my interpretation of the film came through. First off, if she actually did kill this mugger, but she did so in self-defense, she probably wouldn't she wouldn't be held up in New York with charges and courtrooms and stuff. So we could just say, okay, she killed a mugger. She was so freaked out by that. She goes home to Florida. And this is really like the last 5 minutes of the movie. Most of the movie is all the relationship shit before that. And, fish out of water and a young person coming of age and all that good shit. But after she kills the fucking mugger, when she wakes up in Florida, you can say, okay, she killed a mugger and she was turned off by New York, so she went home. And then she's bored at home. But also, the interpretation could be, and this is an interpretation I had, she wakes up in Florida and it was all a dream. It was all a fucking dream, like Big Papa used to say. It was all a dream. She wakes up and basically she never went to fucking New York City. The whole movie's been a facade. It's been a lie. It's just a story of a Floridian, a person bored out of their fucking mind. So they go to sleep one night and they have all these imaginations of what it would be like to move to New York City, meeting all these interesting people. I didn't even mention the love interest at work. It was just kind of another storyline. The guy from work, though, what was interesting, she gets this job. First off, I guess the job is at a travel agency, which is ridiculous in the first place. But there are still travel agencies out there, even though everyone can just Google whatever the fuck. It's one of those professions, travel industry, like travel agent, that has really been hurt by the internet, if you think about it. But I kind of like the fact that there's still a travel agency. The travel agency, by the way, another low budget thing, it was obviously just the corner of somebody's office or like even a coffee house. Like, however they set up the fucking shots for the supposed travel agency office, if that's what it was just kind of funny. It was just really, just the corner of a room basically. But she has a coworker. Of course, he's another guy who's interested in her like everybody else. He's still a college boy. He's a kind of a uncle's boy. They end up in his college room and she actually tries to kiss him on the mouth. And someone watching this movie with me said, well, he is an actual character that's younger than her. So now she's trying to corrupt him. Like everybody's trying to kiss somebody that's younger than them. And finally, when Lisa has a guy in her life that's younger than her, because I bet he's 20 and she's 21, she's trying to kiss on him, which gets interrupted by his cock-blocking, dorm mates, so to speak. Anyway, I will give this film a lot of credit. I'm assuming they stole footage, another filmmaker term. Basically, I'm sure that they didn't shut down the fucking streets of Manhattan or whatever the fuck to film some of these scenes where Lisa's walking around New York City or they're filming in Central Park. I'm sure that they just pulled out their little phones or whatever camera they were using and probably did not film with a permit. I won't tell anybody. But yeah, so I mean, you can basically tell that if it was really a low budget movie, all this fucking movie is stolen footage, meaning they did not get the proper paperwork and so forth. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. And obviously the movie's gotten some type of distribution, so nobody's calling the feds on this. But look, I think there's some real talent in this movie. Interestingly enough, the guy that played Bill, his character is probably a little more prominent than I described because he's in this a lot. The male housemate, he does a lot of the music for this movie apparently, and I thought the music was actually pretty good. I will say this, here is a critique, not of the movie, but when I was going to go see this movie, I wasn't too psyched up about it. The trailer that I saw was not particularly good, It didn't give me much of the flavor, the feel for the movie. It was more or less a collection of visual, chopped up scenes with some music and trying to create a mood. But the mood of the movie and the power of the movie, I don't think was effectively conveyed in the trailer, to be quite honest. And it wasn't a trailer that made me want to see the movie. It actually made me not want to see the movie because it just seemed like another whiny fucking movie. And then I discovered just now, today, moments ago, this is a Saturday, I saw the movie on Thursday night, so it's Mike's Not So Instant Movie Review. I saw another trailer, which was a little more artistically interesting. This is a scene where Holly, the female roommate, the older one, she's using like a sage fucking thing to clean the spirits of the room. And then they go into kind of this artsy, violin or piano music or some such thing. And it's just more of the same, like more random shots from the movie with no dialogue. Well, here's the goddamn problem, Mr. Zuckerman and Associates, whoever made this trailer for you. The whole great thing about this movie, is the dialogue. Like the storytelling and the awkwardness, the awkward humor, as the goddamn kids say. But none of that was really displayed in these trailers. It's like a trailer that you can enjoy after you see the fucking movie. There was, the classic movie Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice, I think at one point they had a trailer for that movie from the 60s or 70s. That is a similar issue. Like if you saw the movie and then you see the trailer after, you're like, oh yeah, that makes me feel good because all these things I saw in the movie. I don't think either trailer that I saw for Yelling Fire in an Empty Theater is going to make people want to see this movie. So there's still time. You can still retweak and tweak and edit. I think even maybe a scene, like a 2-minute scene from the movie, if you can extract it, rather than try to give us a traditional, or even bring back the actors and like film something new, something awkward and goofy. As a trailer, because I really didn't think the trailer did the movies justice. And typically you'll have to give Hollywood credit for this, whatever Hollywood is to you. Typically bigger productions do a really good job with previews, and then you get disappointed when you see the movie because it's not as good, or you saw the good parts in the fucking movie. There's this new comedy coming out with Jennifer Lawrence that I laugh at the fucking trailer, so I'll go see that. But my point is, with this independent film, somebody just, they didn't do a good job with the trailers, in my opinion. No offense. It's not that they're good. It's not that they're god-awful. It's just they're not hooking me to want to see your film. And then once I saw the film, I enjoyed it. So there you fucking go. And, do people listen to my goddamned advice? Probably not. But anyway, apparently some of these filmmakers are from Florida, perhaps even Jacksonville, perhaps even not. But I'm here in sunny Jacksonville. It's not so sunny today. But I enjoyed the goddamn movie. I thought it was fun. I thought it was good. I think there's, one of the side actors, the guy that played Dylan, is in another movie that I'm going to review today. Dad, Stepdad. That's another good one. And I think these people who made this film, the actresses, the actors, they all did a nice job. They all portrayed characters that were very relatable. The fish out of water, the coming of age, the finding yourself, the sexuality, all this stuff I thought was very good. There's a very funny scene where Lisa's asking people, what do you do for fun? And they're having like a little dinner party, and the people in New York are like, we don't have fun. We just live. Fun is so 90s, fun is cliche, fun. Anyway, so that's it. Your buddy Mike Messier, of course, I have many books available, including my own filmmaking book on good old Amazon. Of course, I have no copies of any of my books to show you right now. I have been doing some more artwork on the eBay store. I did this last night. Actually, isn't this great? I sat in a Panera Bread and did this wonderful piece of art. It's not my best. It's not my worst. I do have some other ones. It's always fun when people say, well, how much? And then you tell them, oh, okay. You know what I mean? People don't want to buy them, but it's like, well, if you like the fucking art, then buy them. Okay. But that's it. So Mike Messier with your Mike's Instant Movie Review. Yes, Yelling Fire in an Open Theater. Go see it.